Hey guys, welcome back to Canon Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Venom Let There Be Carnage. And yes, I have the shirt right here from the first movie. I am a Venom lover. I really enjoyed the first one. It's kind of a comfort film at this point just because I love the dynamic between Venom and Eddie Brock. So we get to see that a bit more in the sequel. So I'm just going to dive into this review. A lot of people hate this movie. I had a freaking blast watching Venom Let There Be Carnage. They really showed Venom and Eddie's relationship. It is a bromance, if you don't want to call it a bromance, because there was queer representation in this film as well. It is a clear romance between Venom and Eddie Brock, which I absolutely loved. And it's just something that was needed because you were building it from the first one. They have to have a very close and like tight-knit relationship in order for them to work. So it was really cool to kind of dive into that in the second one. Now, I know that the jokes were kind of off at times, but I was dying of laughter just because I would think about certain lines and then it would hit me like seconds later. It's like, oh, that was actually pretty funny. And I was laughing. I was one of the only people laughing in my theater, which broke my heart because there were some really great comedic moments with Eddie Brock and Venom. This movie is completely like balls to the wall camp, pure campiness. And what I loved most about it was that it's so self-aware of the source material and what the film is in itself. And I think that is what people are failing to understand in regards to like hating it. Is it an A movie? No, it's a B class superhero movie. And we need more of them because they just want to put this content out there. They want this particular material out there. And this is, in my honest opinion, this is the only way that you can bring Venom and Carnage and Shriek to screen, is if you handle it in this particular way. I do think that Andy Serkis did a great job directing Venom 2. He really put his own spin on it. There was some great camera work, some solid direction, and it was just fun. I think that Tom Hardy co-writing the script, brought a different element to Eddie and Venom's relationship, because if Tom Hardy knows the character best at this point, and he really like dived into the source material to make their chemistry work, and the voice of Venom, the actual characterization of Venom, he really went straight into it. So to have a director kind of understand Tom Hardy and what he wanted for Venom and to work that closely together, I think worked extremely well in the second one. A lot of people have been talking about the editing of Venom Let There Be Carnage, and although I think that it was poorly edited, I put a positive spin to it. It felt that it was so fast paced. It was so fast. It went through the movie so quickly. It was like an hour and 30 runtime. And it felt like Andy Serkis wanted you to mentally flip through the comics. He wanted to show that these are different panels, that we're getting right into the action. We're getting right into that story. No excess BS. And I think that that's what he was trying to do. He was showing us everything rather than telling us. And I appreciated that he wanted to make it fun and upbeat and very entertaining. It was entertaining. Even if you think that it is bad, it's still entertaining. And again, I had fun. That's the most important thing about Venom Let There Be Carnage, is like, I had a blast watching this. Was it a bit crazy at times? Hells yeah, but it was just such a fun movie to unwind with. I turned my brain off and I'm like, I'm gonna watch some carnage happen on screen. After 15 years of not having Carnage, because we were promised Carnage in Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, we finally have him on the big screen. And it was decent. It wasn't the best version of Carnage that we would have hoped for, but it looked pretty good. He looked really sick on screen. And I like that Andy Serkis brought in some darkness. Venom, the first one, was dark to begin with, but there are some things that he did with like the smoke and him and Carnage coming out of the smoke and just a little bit more terrifying than they did with Riot in Venom, because Carnage is supposed to be the worst of the worst. So I think that he really showed that in the small moments that we did have Carnage on screen. So that was really important to kind of set that tone that Carnage does not care. Doesn't care. He's going to rip you to pieces. And I think that Andy Serkis really nailed that in this movie. So that is the bonus. I love, love, love the CGI. The CGI for Carnage and Venom, amazing in this sequel. I think they really stepped it up like several notches. And the reason why it worked for me was because instead of like two giant blobs fighting, or like it felt like a giant blob walking around, you had them as fully formed creatures, and you could tell that they were solid. It wasn't like they were gooey and like falling. Like that's not the way it looked compared to the first Venom. So in this Venom, it was just very solid, and I appreciated that. So when Venom and Carnage end up fighting, this is not a spoiler, it's literally in all the damn trailers. Hello. Even if it is a spoiler, it's Monday. Huh. So them fighting, you could feel the impact. And I think that's what was lacking from the first Venom. So their fight was a bit better. I do think that they need to like bring up the color palette a bit. It is dark. And the specific colors that you used, especially for Carnage, I think there should have been more of like a blood red, and it was very like faint. And I think that would have brought up Carnage, and his color popped a bit more. But again, nitpicks, not that big of a deal. But with those two, I think that Venom and Carnage, their looks, top notch, loved it. So happy we finally got Carnage on the big screen. As for Woody Harrelson, I'm conflicted because Woody is so freaking talented that you can literally watch him in anything. And I think that he was just so committed as Cletus Cassidy. And that's the other thing with Venom. They all knew the movie that they were making, and they could have easily phoned in any of these performances like, you know, other B-class superhero films have done in the past with their cast. But in this case, they were so committed. They were so committed. Tom Hardy is looking at this like, I'm going to give you the best dual character that you've ever seen in your life. And that is what Woody Harrelson did as well. So it's like when you have that level of commitment for a superhero film, and Andy Serkis allowed them to explore that character and have fun within that space. I think that's what's so awesome about this movie in particular, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, because I feel like we've lost the sense of that because of how formulaic certain superhero films have been. I'm not hitting on the MCU. I'm saying in general, DC stuff has done that as well. There is a specific structure that you follow, and then it kind of gets repetitive. Whereas Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Venom in general, we have no idea what to expect. We don't know, as long as it's fun. And like that is what Venom Let There Be Carnage does with their characters. So I think that Woody Harrelson playing off of Tom Hardy, vice versa, back and forth like that, I had a blast watching them. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to see them play off of each other. Not only is this a comic book movie, but as I said before, this is a love story. So we have Venom and Eddie Brock's love story, and we also have Cletus Cassidy and Francis. So they are basically, it's Carnage and Shriek that are invested in each other. We see how crazy they can get, basically, but that's pretty much the story. They want to get married. It's a bit messy. Me trying to explain what happened in Venom Let There Be Carnage, other than the fact that there is a wedding, it's a bit messy, and that's okay. It's okay. But the most important thing, again, that I'm going to say it, is that we had fun. There are some cons to Venom Let There Be Carnage. The editing was a big one, and it really, really put a damper on it. Shriek was severely underused. There was no point in having her in there other than the fact of what kind of transpires in the third act. I think that was a waste of time to have her there and not really use her to her full potential. Again, you know, Michelle Williams was there for some great moments, some fun moments, and it was nice to see her, but again, underused, and it was just like she was placed there as much as we really love seeing her and you know, play in this world. It was just, again, underused. So the female characters were underused and they kind of felt like plot devices at certain points, which is unfortunate. But yeah, those are really the cons. I did rate it the same as Venom. It was like a 3.5 out of 5 for me. And yeah, it's enjoyable. It's entertaining. It's funny. The jokes are so much funnier in this one. And there's chickens. There's chickens named Sunny and Cher. I will not talk about the post-credit scene. Make sure to watch it. Again, I'm conflicted on that post-credit scene. I don't really know what to expect in the future for it. It just doesn't make any sense. All I want to know is, when is Venom 3 coming out? Because I am so stoked for the next one. So if you guys enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. You can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. If you guys loved it, talk about it in the comments. I'll be more than happy to engage with you and chat about Venom. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.